It's time for Dodger baseball.
What's going on, Dodgers Nation? Welcome to the Dodgers Nation post-game show. I'm your host, Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. Thanks for rocking with us after the Dodgers get shut out by the Giants by a final score of 5-0. The bats just did not show up. The milk box Dodgers tonight, because they were missing all night long. They had multiple opportunities. They ended up going 1 for 19 with runners on base, 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, 11 strikeouts, did draw 5 walks, but not one extra base hit. We're going to break it all down. Your Dodgers are now 6-6, sitting at 500 on the season, a game back out of first place in the NL West, currently right behind the Diamondbacks and the Padres. So we're going to get into it because we have a lot to get into in this show. Last night, it was a great night. You had Max Muncy, the proud owner of the San Francisco Giants. He hits 2 home runs. He breaks out the offense. They bludgeon the Giants, but tonight was a different story. It was a big yawn snore fest by this Dodgers offense, and they had multiple opportunities. We're going to break it all down, all the opportunities that the Dodgers did have. We're going to talk about Dustin May's outing, which I think is very interesting. Dustin May, he went out there. He struggled with command early. There's no question about that. But then he settled in, and he was dealing. I mean, he was grinding all night long. I think it was definitely a great step in the right direction for Dustin May in that he did have success early on, but he was able to fight through it, and he put together a nice game for himself, and it definitely was not his fault. And I think he was a little upset with Dave Roberts when he was taken out there in the 6th inning. And yes, he goes 5 1/3 innings, allowed 2 runs on just 2 hits, had 3 strikeouts, did issue those 4 walks. His ERA is currently sitting at 1.47. But Dustin May, he took the loss tonight, and I think he was not too happy, and he could have finished that game. We're going to talk all about that and what it means for this Dodgers rotation. I'll give you my thoughts on why he was taken out. Yes, Ferguson came in. He was a little rocky, but he ends up getting them out of that inning. But also, how about the bottom half of this lineup? They continue to struggle. And Chris Taylor, I mean, he had so many opportunities in tonight's game. He strikes out 3 times, and he's been pretty terrible to start the season. He's gone 3 for 31 with 14 strikeouts. Chris with a K, Chris Kaler, swing and miss Chris, whatever you want to say. He's definitely struggling at the plate. But we're going to break it all down. But first things first, I want to know from you, what is the biggest reason why the Dodgers lost this game? Who's the most to blame? Let's slice up that blame pie. And who is the most to blame for tonight's loss? And also, let me know where you represent Dodgers Nation from. Give me those cities down below in the comment section. I see the Lakers are not up in a tight one. So if you're a Laker fan watching my show, I appreciate that. But I'm also looking for that comment of the night. If you get the comment of the night, you're going to see one of these.
You win.
If you bring me a fire take, anything fire, any hot takes, you're going to get one of these. So the hotter the take, the better.
Fire take.
And then I'm looking for the Dodger dog of the night. We're going to get one of these.
Dodger dog of the game.
But let's get right into it. So Brian Sepulveda, first comment over on YouTube. Damian Leon, this is getting a little scary, LOL. Kevin Uhas, when is it okay to melt down? Kevin Uhas, let me ask you, that's a great point there. When is it okay to melt down? Well, look, we're extremely early on in the season. This Dodgers bullpen is still trying to find their footing. And even Evan Phillips, who established himself as one of the best relievers in all of Major League Baseball last season, he even struggled in this one. Evan Phillips is someone that we know he's Fireman Phillips for a reason. He is the Dodgers' most trusted high-leverage reliever. He's moved into that closer's role with Daniel Hudson still working his way back from that ACL injury. And so far this season, 3 innings, and the strikeouts have been down, 3 strikeouts per 9, but still he's been pretty solid. But tonight was a different story. Allowed 2 home runs in this one, and that definitely is something to be concerned about because Evan Phillips is a guy who this team needs to be good. They need him to be that high leverage guy coming out when you got runners on base facing the meat of the order. You need to trust him to go out there and get big outs, and he was in a situation where it wasn't even necessarily a high leverage situation, and he goes out there bottom of the 8th inning, gives up that home run to David Villar, and And that's a 2-run shot. That made it 4-0 San Francisco. And then Brandon Crawford just sitting on that heater right there. He gives up a home run, and it goes to right field. And, yeah, I mean, if you just look at that appearance, was not his best day at the office for sure. And if you look at his year last year, 63 innings pitched, a 1.14 ERA. He allowed 2 home runs for the entire season. He allowed 2 home runs on 2 pitches in the same inning tonight. I mean, the last time he issued a home run was back on May 26 of last season. So, look, the velocity has been down just a tad bit for Evan Phillips. You're seeing his cutter not breaking as much, as the sweeping slider not as filthy, and that's the pitch that he's hung there to VR. And, look, he's going to get it together. I trust that. But still, this bullpen is not the bullpen that's built to play in this modern day of Major League Baseball, in my opinion, at least as of right now. We're going to break it all down. I'll give you some more thoughts on the bullpen and why Andrew Friedman is going to learn the hard way when it comes to building a bullpen now in this new era, where you have the restriction on the shift, where the ball is going to be put in play, where you do need guys to miss bats. I mean, you're talking about a bullpen that has a strikeout rate of sub 20. That's bottom of the league status. That's bottom 5 of the league at 27. So this bullpen definitely is not looking the part so far. To me, it's a major concern at this point. I mean, tonight there were some Alex Vesey yesterday had some bright moments. Yency Almonte, but tonight you're talking about Shelby Miller, who continues to struggle with command. I mean, he's wilder than a frat party during rush week, and we're going to talk about him. Caleb Ferguson, I think Brusdar Graterol looked a little better with command, but let's get back to you guys. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your panic meter at? What is your freak out meter right now for the Dodgers? It's still extremely early. We still have a lot of games to be played, but this team so far, they just not have looked great. And also you add the fact, just look at the competition right now. You're talking about teams like the Diamondbacks, the Rockies, the San Francisco Giants. None of these teams are going to be contenders, not even the National League, but for the World Series or anything, for the division. These aren't contending teams, and the Dodgers are sitting at 6-6. They should have got off to a really nice start. The Dodgers should be 9-3, 10-2. They should be looking like the Tampa Bay Rays, right? They should have come out of the gate strong and really made a big impression on the NL West and saying to the Padres, hey, you're the favorites, but we're going to come out strong. Well, the Dodgers have not done that. It's not like they've been playing the Braves or the Mets or the Padres or any of these teams that are favored to win the World Series. No, they are playing the bottom feeders, and they are struggling mightily. So we'll see. Can this team find a way to get it together when they do face tougher competition? Is it a silver lining, the fact that they're still trying to figure out their bullpen and the back half of their rotation, the bottom of their order, while they're struggling against some of these bottom feeder basement dwelling teams? It could be a positive, but still, it lets you know that this team is struggling against bad competition. One of the easiest schedules in all of Major League Baseball to start the year, and the Dodgers are sitting at 500 at 6-6. David Rivera Mota says the Dodger dynasty is over. Christian Reyes says D-Mac for president. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, my last name is McCain, but it's with a K, okay? Lou Steele distracted Phillips tonight. That's from Michael Bilgen. Look, Evan Phillips has to go out there, and he has to go out there and execute pitches, and he'll be the first guy to tell you that. And the reality is, slider didn't break, the sweeper didn't break, the fastball didn't have the location, the same velocity on it. So, yeah, I mean, look, you're going to play with distractions. You're going to play in tough environments, and these guys are professionals, and they're paid to go out there and do their job and execute pitches, and he'll be the first to tell you that. Doval was filthy. Fired Dave Roberts. Bring in Mike Scioscia to lead this team. LOL. What up, Juice Narrows? Always rocking with us over on YouTube, on Instagram. Mike Scioscia, hey, he did throw out the first pitch on opening day. He's a guy that doesn't embrace modern day analytics like a lot of managers do. I don't anticipate Mike Scioscia being the manager of the Dodgers anytime soon. But what do you guys think of Dave Roberts taking out Dustin May there in the 6th inning? And Dustin May, he was cruising. I mean, not even high velocity. He allowed one extra base hit, and it was to Jock Peterson. And yes, Jock Peterson was at the plate. We had no runners on base, and you're looking at, it was an 0-1 pitch to J.D. Davis, and he gets him to ground to third. So, yeah, I mean, Soft contact, 66.4 miles per hour off the bat, and that was it for May. He didn't look happy when he walked off the mound. Here, take a look at Dustin May walking off the mound. You're seeing here's ready to settle in. He was working quick. He was operating. He was getting his rhythm. He was heavy four-seam fastball tonight, 50% clip. And yes, he didn't have that curveball early. Didn't have the feel for the breaking stuff. But look at him walking off the mound, just kind of looking, shaking his head. Before that, he kicked some dirt off the mound, and he clearly looked frustrated. He spits. I mean, this is not a happy Dustin May. Kind of flips his arm, kind of licks his lips there. And yeah, Dustin May definitely was frustrated. And there's a couple ways to look at Dustin May getting taken out when he did. Because yes, of course, you got the lefty-lefty. You want to play the matchup there and bring in Ferguson to face Jock Peterson, who had the extra base hit early on in the game. But still, I think Dustin May is a guy that, look, I mean, it's just got to be frustrating for some of these pitchers. Yes, you got to play the matchups and play the platoon splits, but yeah, I think there's that, and I think on top of that, and something that I've talked about at the beginning of this season is that Dustin May, 56 innings is his career high. 56 innings is his career high back in 2020. Professionally, is 141 innings is his career high in a season with AAA. I mean, back in the minor league level. So, yeah, maybe they're trying to preserve him and think about October because they need him to be an ace. But, yeah, we got D-Mac. What up, DKM? Wait, did Schroeder end the game here? What happened? Producer, help me. We freaking suck this year from Armando Moreno. We got Fire Roberts, incomprehensible game managing from Careless Whispers. Ruben Gutierrez. Oh, so, okay, 1.4 seconds. The Dodgers were a big fat no-show. That's from Diane Schroeder. Yeah, this Dodgers offense, they were putrid tonight. They go 3 for 30, no extra base hits, 11 strikeouts, and they had multiple opportunities. Now, let's all lock in to see this final play and see if the Timberwolves can stretch us into overtime. But Daddy Mac, I'm scared. Please tell me it'll be okay. Damian Leon, it's going to be okay one way or the other because, look, this team has a lot of resources, a lot of prospect capital. They have to go out there and make some moves for a bullpen piece, for another hitter, for a starter. If they want to go that route, they can do that. Now, do they put all their eggs in the Ohtani basket? Maybe they did. Mike Conley stepped on the line. It's going to be over. They fouled Mike Conley. He's going to go to the line. Okay. The office let us down this year, Armando Moreno. I think, look, there's a couple ways to look at that, Armando, and I think it's a very interesting question. I wouldn't say they let you down. I mean, anytime you have an organization spending upwards of $240 million, one of the top spenders in the league, yes, they heavily invest in this team, and this team wants to win now. But what I said on the podcast yesterday is that they do not build a bullpen with the same level of care and investment as they do the starting rotation or the lineup or the top of that lineup. And this is a team that they think they can pick up guys off the street. They can do dumpster diving and find the next Evan Phillips. Find a Alex Vesia via a trade with Dylan Floro. Find a Yency Almonte. Find a Brusdar Graterol who just fell in their lap in the Mookie Betts trade and hope that it works out. But look, the reality of the situation is that you don't find as many guys that have the ability to miss bats and get big punch outs off the scrap heap. I mean, yes, they have pitch to contact type bullpen guys. Well, guess what? With the restriction on the shift, the BABIP is already much higher. It's 33%, so 33% of the time you're getting a hit. Last year, it was the lowest in the league at 260. So this is a team that, yeah, they absolutely, I think, need to go out there and find some guys, another Chris Martin type, another bullpen arm that can miss bats and they can mow guys down, because with the ball being in play more, at some point it's going to catch up to them. It's going to bite them. And also, look, Shelby Miller, he hasn't looked the part. Mike Conley just tied the game, and I think you're seeing that too. So Muncy finally hits, and Roberts benches him. WTF, Neil Kasamoto. Yeah, I think in a guy like Max Muncy, a guy that, and by the way, I'm not Mr. Victory Lap. I'm not Mr. Victory Lap, but look, did I not say before the game that Max Muncy was going to hit a home run? And I was wrong. He hit 2 home runs, but I also said he was going to go back to that step-back move. I had no inside information on that. I just felt it in my bones that he was going to do that because Max Muncy is a guy that he tinkers and he tries to find solutions to things, and he went back to that step-back. And what that allows him to do is it engages his lower body. When he's using his lower body, he's a much better hitter at the plate. He can catch up to higher velocity. And also, too, it's a little more more subtle than the move last year. It's very quick, but it gets him into a great rhythm. It gets him in a spot where he can go and do damage, and you saw that last night. And then tonight, of course, Max Muncy, he's riding El Bencho. He's riding the Pine. It's definitely something that, look, I mean, Max Muncy for his career, an 842 OPS versus lefties, an 822 OPS versus righties. And yes, of course, you're talking about 1,700 plus at-bats versus righties and 591 at-bats versus lefties. But still, Max Muncy is a student of the game. This is a guy that's shown the ability to hit left-handed pitching throughout his career. And yeah, Max Muncy, you do kind of hurt him with some momentum. And look, I think this organization, they're doing the same thing. I mean, they're spinning, they're like the hamster on the wheel, pretty much. I mean, they're taking out their starters earlier than you would like in some cases, and also they're platooning a lot of guys in certain spots. So they're fine. They're sticking with their formula, and that's just kind of how it's going to be. But here we go. We got they look bored. Alfonso Lucio, yeah, they definitely did look bored. I mean, were they watching the Laker game throughout the entire game? I mean, they just looked like they didn't show up to play. I mean, it was a cold, kind of one of those cold nights, those tired nights up in San Francisco. And yeah, at some point, you got to go out there and you got to compete. And tonight, like I said, they had so many opportunities throughout this game, and they just could not capitalize. And I think that's what's the most frustrating thing about tonight's loss is this could have been a win easily for the Dodgers. I mean, just look at, I mean, anytime you get multiple hit by pitches, you get a catcher's interference, you get leadoff walks, you get leadoff singles, you're expected to generate runs, put runs across, and the Dodgers just could not do that. I thought there were a couple opportunities where, look, send Mookie Betts late in the game to try to steal second, to try to you just have a little spark in this offense to try to get these guys to step their game up and kind of excite them and just be that catalyst that he can be. Because, look, that definitely jump starts an offense when you make moves like that. But if you look at this game, I mean, second inning, JD Martinez hit by a pitch. Trace Thompson strikes out for the first out. Vargas walks. So Dodgers runners on first and second with one out. Then Chris Taylor, he strikes out swinging for the second out. He chased a sinker at the bottom of the zone. And then James Outman, he grounds to first for the third out. Third inning, Rojas hits a leadoff single, and then Betts flies out for the first out. Then Freeman strikes out for the second out. Not a good night for Freddie Freeman, uncharacteristically chasing at fastballs up out of the zone. And then Will Smith, he flies out to third. And then jump to the fourth inning. Trace Thompson, one out. He gets hit by a pitch. Dodgers get a one-out base runner. Then Vargas flies out. Then Chris Taylor, he strikes out on a foul tip for the third out. And then top of the fifth, James Outman draws a leadoff walk. And by the way, his takes have been impressive early on. You got to give him credit for that. I think his strike zone awareness has been a lot better than people thought it was going to be, but he draws a leadoff walk there in the fifth inning. And then what happens? Rojas flies out for the first out. Betts, he draws a one-out walk, so the Dodgers now have runners on first and second with one out. And then Freeman grounds out for the second out. And then Junis comes in to face Smith, and he flies to center for the third out. So more opportunities there. Still can't cash in. Still no extra base hits for the Dodgers. And what you're seeing there is just not competitive at-bats during certain situations. You want to grind out some of these at-bats, but tonight we saw the Dodgers chasing at pitches out of the zone. We saw lazy fly balls, lazy groundouts, 11 strikeouts. This offense just did not show up. Like I said, if you see your milk box tomorrow when you're eating your Wheaties, you're going to see the Dodgers offense because they were missing in tonight's loss. And then jump to the sixth inning. JD Martinez gets a leadoff single. He's starting to feel good. Trace Thompson gets a single. So the Dodgers get back-to-back singles to start the sixth inning. And then Miguel Vargas, he gets a catcher's interference to load the bases with no outs. You're thinking they're going to at least put one across. Maybe a walk, maybe a sacrifice fly, put the ball in play. No, CT3 strikes out on a slider away. That at bat by Chris Taylor, it was just really a microcosm of how his season has looked so far. I mean, it's a lot of the same as last year, except it's even worse because you're talking about a strikeout rate of over 40%, 14 strikeouts, and 31 at-bats. I mean, this guy continues to struggle, and in that situation, you just want to put the ball in play. You want to get a sacrifice fly. You want to hit a ground ball to the right side. Do anything you possibly can just to hit the ball, get the ball in play, and he wasn't able to do that and just go and execute. And then Alexander comes in. He gets Outman to hit a number, and they get the force out at home for the second out. And then Rojas, he strikes out swinging for the third out. So that was the Dodgers' biggest opportunity of the night in the sixth there. Bases loaded, no out, and they weren't able to get a run across. And then the seventh inning, Mookie gets a leadoff walk. Then Freddie, he strikes out swinging for the first out. Smith flies out, and then JD, he pops to short for the third out. So nothing for the Dodgers offense. But yeah, I mean, what is your biggest concern right now for the Dodgers offense? To me, I mean, I think if you're being completely honest, Chris Taylor, so far, 4 years and $60 million, he has not lived up to that contract. I mean, that's just the cold, hard truth. And I love Chris Taylor. I want nothing but success for the guy. But you're talking about a guy who was a below-average bat this season. He's just really struggled. So we got fire Dave Roberts from Jeremy Nordland. So there's your fire Dave Roberts. Yeah, man, if I had a penny for every time someone said fire Dave Roberts, I'd be living in a mansion in Bel Air right now. But Gavin Stone needs to be brought up, and a couple of our relievers need to be sent to the minors. That's from Joshua Herrera. So a couple of thoughts on that are, well, first and foremost, you look at this at Gavin Stone. He's just still not ready. I mean, the command isn't where it needs to be for you'd expect him to come up and have success early on. I don't think the Dodgers had it anticipated for him to come up and already have a prominent role early on this season because, look, he needs a little more seasoning. You don't want to take him out of the oven when he's not fully ready, okay? He is a guy that you need to see him pitch better. And tonight, though, 4 innings, allowed 3 runs on 3 hits, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. So, look, I mean, it's another perfect example right there. I mean, he just hasn't had it every start. Last start looked better, but you're talking about 2 of his 3 starts. He has not looked the part. He doesn't look like a guy that you want to bring up and say, hey, we're going to have you hit the ground running and start your clock in Major League Baseball. You're just not going to do that. And then also, too, if you throw him into the bullpen, there's a build-up situation. You don't want to throw in an inning or 2 innings. You want him built up as a starter. And at this point in the season, he just does not look the part. He is not ready, Gavin Stone. But the bat offense, Freeman and Roberts can both go from Paul Gutierrez. The bullpen sucks. That's from Diane Schroeder. Neil Shambaugh, and no one in the bullpen can apparently hold a runner at first base. Yeah, I mean, excellent point. I think you have to point that out. I mean, the stolen bases have been an issue pretty much all season long. I mean, look, when Shelby Miller came in there in the 7th inning, Crawford, he grounded to short. Really nice play by Miguel Rojas. He fields it, he spins, he makes the play, and then Sable, he singles on a fly ball to left. Alman kind of thought about diving for a second, didn't want to fully sell out, but still, he's learning the big league experience in the outfield on the fly, so you gotta give him. That's okay. I mean, I'm not worried about that. I think he was just fine, and that's a 1-out base hit for San Francisco. And then Sable singles to second to give the Giants a runner in scoring position. So there's your example. Not holding runners. They're slow to the plate, and you're absolutely correct. And in this new day and age of baseball, you look what the Diamondbacks did. They were relentless. I mean, they were working counts. They weren't slugging. They were just getting on base. They were relentless on the base pass, 8 stolen bases, 5 for 5 on Sunday. So, yeah, I think when you're seeing this style of baseball, the Dodgers need to adjust. They need to adapt very quickly because, yeah, I mean, there's pitchers that are going out there and they're giving up free base runners and putting runners in scoring position, and it's going to come back and eventually bite them. So, but, yeah, who is your Dodger dog of the night? Which Dodger had the most dog? I think I'm going to start. I think it's a pretty easy one, and I think it's Dustin May. I'm going with Dustin Mania for my Dodger dog of the night.
Dodger dog of the game.
But let me know who yours is, and let's get back to this comment section. We got Dave Fraudberts from Michael Bilgen over on YouTube. How are they going to come out strong? They look like the AAA Dodgers. That's from Claudia over on Facebook. Gary Webb, it's a slow start. They'll get it together by next month. Yeah, absolutely could see this team going on a nice run. Guys getting hot, but I mean, the issue is the bullpen. I mean, the starting rotation, second turn through the rotation, they did not look good. So we'll see from a pitching standpoint if they can get it done because, I mean, I think you can't just throw your blind faith in that. I think that if they really want to contend this season, you're going to definitely have to make some moves on the pitching side because there's really not a lot of answers out there. But look, I mean, I think when you look at this team, What does Tommy Lasorda say? I mean, no matter how good you are, you're going to lose 1/3 of your games. No matter how bad you are, you're going to win 1/3 of your games. It's the other third that makes the difference. So, yeah, you're going to lose a lot of games in Major League Baseball, and tonight was a perfect example. But no home runs, Craig Osterberg. Not only no home runs, no extra base hits. So, definitely you want to slug. If you want the dub, you've got to slug. And tonight, the at-bats just were not there. Lots of lazy flyouts, not a lot of great contact. Moose, Lakers, so... We got thoughts on Lance Lynn, Tim Anderson, blockbuster trade. Well, hey, I've been an advocate for Tim Anderson. Of course, he left the game with a knee injury the other day, and yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, I when it comes to Lance Lynn, the Dodgers, they were very close. They were very close to trading for Lance Lynn in 2020 when he was on the Rangers, but still, he's gotten off to a slow start. He has not looked great so far. 9 ERA in 10 innings pitched. The strikeout numbers are pretty much around his career norms. The walk in the command has been high, but look, if it means taking on a Lance Lynn, a guy that's a veteran, a guy that you can trust. I mean, 36, 37 years old, one last go around. I mean, I'd be okay with that. I think it depends on the package you're giving back. As long as it doesn't include a Diego Cartaya or a Bobby Miller or a Gavin Stone, guys like that, I think it is something that I would consider, no question about it. But also, Lucas Giolito is a guy that could be available too. Corbin Burns has gotten up to a terrible start. So, hey, let's buy Corbin Burns when his stock is at an all-time low. So, yeah, I think they're going to have to absolutely make some moves if they want to be legitimate contenders. There's no way that if the Dodgers don't go out there and make some type of splashy move, whether it's a frontline starter, a key bullpen piece, another bat, they're not going to go far in this postseason. This team is just not built like that. When you got teams like the Braves and the Padres out there, we always know there's like teams like the Phillies who get hot, but you see up and down the lineup, they have a bullpen that can miss bats. They got a starting rotation that can mow guys down. So, yeah, you definitely want to build your team for the postseason. Right now, this team definitely needs some work, in my opinion. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Dustin May's start, because I thought it was definitely a growing experience for Dustin May, who continues to evolve as an emerging star. I think early on, of course, he did not have it, and early on, he just struggled with command. I mean, Lamont Wade drew a 9-pitch walk. He was struggling with glove side command and arm side command with that cutter, and then a 4-pitch walk to Conforto, arm side command again with that cutter. 6 consecutive balls thrown by Dustin May, and then he issues back-to-back walks there. So back-to-back walks, the mechanics looked out of sync, and then a nice mound visit there by Will Smith, settles him down, starts to throw some strikes, but then on a 1-1 pitch to J.D. Davis, he gets him to ground at third for the first out, and then Wade and Conforto, they advance on the play to give the Giants runners on second and third with 1 out, and then 1-1 pitch, old friend Jock Peterson, he doubles down the line for a 2-run double to give the Giants an early 2-0 lead, a cutter down and in. It just stayed up. Yeah, I mean, did not have the sharp break, did not have the command. He wasn't pounding the zone like we've seen him do this season early on. And Jock gets that 2-run double. That puts the Giants up 2-0 early. It was a cutter down and in, and it just stayed up. So, yeah, just a missed pitch there by May. And they kind of wanted it on the hand, try to get some soft contact and missed the barrel there, but just wasn't able to make that pitch. And then with Jock on second, a 3-2 pitch to Yaz. May gets him a fly to center for the second out. And the next batter, David Villar, with Jock at second, 2 outs, a 3-2 count to Villar. He gets him to ground to third to end the inning. So, yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy who entered this start throwing 13 pitches per inning, and then he throws 31 pitches there in the first. So he's definitely laboring out there, but still, he's able to escape, allowing just 2 runs. I mean, you figure the Dodgers offense scored 9 runs yesterday. They could put up some runs and give him some run support, but the run support just was not there for Dustin May. So, yeah, I want you guys to throw out your grades for Dustin May tonight. I'm going to give Dustin May, I'll give Dustin May a B. Why not? We'll give Dustin May a B. I mean, talking about 2-run ball there for Dustin May. I mean, you'll take that with this Dodgers offense that had so much success yesterday. So, yeah, I think Dustin May, to me, he gets a solid B, especially when you consider that he wanted to stay out there and finish the game. So, yeah, 2 runs on 2 hits in 5 1/3. The punch outs, only 3 strikeouts tonight, but the 4 walks definitely hurt him. 77 pitches, 42 for strikes. That ERA still at 1.47. And yeah, you didn't see too much swing and miss for Dustin May, too. Just 5 swings and misses on the night. First pitch strikes 13 for 21. So, yeah, you definitely want to see him be more efficient. You want to see him continue to miss bats. But, yeah, the big issue was that curveball. I mean, that curveball, he needs to find a way to miss bats. I mean, he's had one chase through the first few games with that curveball. Was able to get a couple tonight, but it still hasn't been the pitch that he needs it to be moving forward. And I have confidence that he will. But, jump to that top of the second. Crawford popped to short for the first out. Sable fly to center for the second out. And then May strikes out Johnson looking for his first punchy of the night. Curveball, bottom inside corner. So that is what I'm trying to tell you. I mean, that is the pitch that is so crucial for him to take the next step and really emerge as that all-star pitcher this season, is working that curveball. Because if you look at it from a velocity standpoint, 83, 84 miles per hour, the miles per hour differential from his 4-seam and his 2-seam, we're talking 97, 98 miles per hour, a 94, 95 mile per hour cutter. You definitely need that as a way to keep hitters off balance. But yeah, we're going to talk about Chris Taylor. We're going to keep talking about Dustin May. We're going to keep breaking down this one. But the Dodgers lose tonight. They get shut out in San Francisco, 5-0, dropped to 6-6, a game out of first in the NL West. Oakland Dodgers, that's from Damian Leone. CT3 is Aaron Hicks 2.0, and that's from Michael over on YouTube. CT3 needs to sit down. That's from Diane Schroeder. Hitters need to put the ball in play instead of striking out with runners in scoring position. Yeah, preach Neil over on YouTube. I mean, tonight especially when you're not slugging. I think in certain nights when the ball's flying, you're finding gaps and you're leaving the yard, yeah, you can play for the slug. And really the statistics show if you do that, you're going to win games when you outslug your opponent. But tonight when you're not able to get one extra base hit, and you go 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, 0 for 11 with runners on base, and you're not able to put any runs across, yeah, you definitely have to change your approach. You need more of a 2-strike approach out there, and we just didn't see that. And really the main culprit was Chris Taylor. Check that. Chris Taylor tonight, who just had multiple opportunities and he just wasn't able to come through in this one. So yeah, I mean, Chris Taylor definitely needs a game like Max Muncy yesterday, where you go and you just kind of break out, hit a couple of home runs, have a clutch base hit. He's always been a streaky hitter, and that just kind of comes with the territory. But still, I mean, Chris Taylor, he left 6 runners on base. Freddie Freeman left 5 runners on base. James Outman left 5 runners on base. Miguel Rojas left 4 runners on base. So, look, Mookie Betts goes 0 for 2 with 3 walks. And, yes, he sets the table, but 1 runner left on base. I mean, if Mookie's going to hit and you need a run producer, I'm just saying, look, the statistics prove that Mookie is below average when it comes to sprint speed this year. So, if he's not going to steal bases like we saw him have an opportunity to and they didn't send him in this one, to kind of jumpstart that offense, I mean, we'll see what happens. But D-Mac, please take over. Dave Roberts, I see what you did right there, as the head coach. Hey, look, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, but then who would criticize me? Would I just do the post-game show and do fire D-Mac after games and then criticize me? I mean, I guess I could do that. I guess I could probably make that happen and use the post-game press conferences as a post-game show. Because, look, I don't care. If I was the Dodgers manager, I would still do this show. Dodgers missing Chris Martin. That's from Carl. Yeah, I mean, Chris Martin was an absolute beast. Chris Martin was fantastic for this Dodgers team last season. But look, the reality is, the Dodgers don't invest in bullpen pieces, and yes, you have the Blake Trinans you give a 1-year deal to, you get that extension to. Yes, you give Joe Kelly that $25 million deal that didn't work out. They kind of got burned by that, but they like to find guys during the season. Last year, Chris Martin with the Dodgers, a 1.46 ERA in 24 2/3 innings, had a 12.4 strikeouts per 9. So they need to find that next guy this season. But I will caution you in saying that, look, you want to see how these guys are looking this year, because there's a couple of bullpen pieces on the Dodgers that, do they look like they're the same guys as they were last season? So knowing that, you definitely want to play a little bit of this season. You want to let this season marinate just a little bit, and then you see who has it this year, who's striking guys out, who's missing bats, who has the spin rate, who brings the dynamic to this pen that they don't have. And I think the Dodgers, they're probably hard at work in finding that next guy. And also, too, the earlier you trade this season, the more prospect capital you have to give up. So, yes, the Dodgers are going to address their bullpen issues, and most likely it's going to come via trade, but they're still early enough in the season where Yeah, I mean, it's too early for the next Chris Martin. The trade deadline, they're going to find the guy, but look, you could be put in a situation where, look, you can't win the division in April. You can't win the division in May, but you can lose the division in April and May, especially when you're looking up at a very talented Padres team and a gritty Diamondbacks team that's turning heads right now with their style of play. But why sit Muncy after he actually has a good hitting game? James Babin over on YouTube, we've discussed this. Look, McMuncy Cove is there for a reason. He owns the San Francisco Giants to a 1,003 career OPS versus the San Francisco Giants, 23 career home runs. That's most by any team that he's played against. So, yeah. I think, look, I mean, how silly does it sound, too? I mean, Trace Thompson hits 3 home runs, so he gets to start the next day. Max Muncy hits 2 home runs, he doesn't get to start the next day. That sounds silly to me, especially when you're struggling towards the bottom of this lineup to generate runs. So, yeah, I think it's silly, and I'm in full agreement with you, too. I think if you are going to put your trust in some of these guys, and Max Muncy has had relatively even splits throughout his career, I don't see why you wouldn't, especially when you consider that you're trying to build his confidence early on. I mean, he got off to such a slow start. He breaks out a career game, 7 RBIs, 2 home runs, and then he meets El Bencho. It just doesn't make sense. There's no other era of baseball where he sits a day game after that. And yes, of course, you got Alex Wood, who's a lefty. Yes, of course, you've got Max Muncy, who's a lefty, but still, I'll take my chances when you consider there's not very much firepower in the bottom third of that lineup that's hitting consistently. But hitters 1 through 3 didn't get a hit, can't win that way. Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point for sure. Mookie goes over 2, drew 3 walks, had a strikeout. Freddie Freeman, this was not a good game for Freddie Freeman, and Freddie Freeman definitely is my team MVP. I mean, he's a guy who is going to be a top 5 MVP candidate pretty much every single year, but tonight wasn't his night. I mean, he goes over 5, had 3 strikeouts, but even on the strikeouts, I mean, he was chasing at pitches up out of the zone. I mean, I was very surprised to see Freddie Freeman's at-bats today, the way they played out. I mean, Freddie is a guy that you can really trust to have solid at-bats, but tonight it just wasn't his night. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, that's going to be short-lived. I mean, they're in the 7th inning. Freddie Freeman, he strikes him. He's going against Brebbia, and he strikes it on 3 pitches. I mean, the last one, 94.6 mile per hour four-seam fastball up out of the zone, and that is very uncharacteristic. He has great plate discipline, great strike zone awareness, and Freddie, just he wasn't ready tonight. I mean, the Lakers, man, Rusty Nail. Yeah, Lakers get the dub. We'll do a Lakers post-game show after this, maybe. Dustin Maniac, Dave Roberts should have not taken him out. Let's get back to Dustin Mania. Give me your grades for him. Armando Moreno, $4.99 on the super chat. I'm going to put that towards carne asada fries and my big jar I have for the Shohei Ohtani contract. D-Mac, tell me the truth. Are you related to Will Smith? Yes, I am related to Will Smith. Okay, the cat's out of the bag. We were separated at birth. Okay, no, but look, it's funny. I just posted a reel today on Instagram where I asked Dodgers fans if they would ever date or marry a Giants fan. And one of the top comments is, the real question is, why is Will Smith out here interviewing Dodgers fans? So I thought that was funny, whoever said that. But Shohei Ohtani doesn't like New York sucker. LOL. Hey, I like, first of all, love the name Showtime Dodgers fan. That's going to be my comment of the night.
You win.
You guys know how much Showtime, Shohei Ohtani, show him the money. That is my weakness. So you get the comment of the night. That is presented by our sponsors at Hornitos. Best tequila in the game. Hornitos, please drink responsibly. That is our comment of the night coming to us from Showtime Dodgers fan. But Armando Moreno, I'm not Will Smith, okay? But he's the Louisville Slugger. He's the Clutch Prince. But Ghost Cat, Andrew Francis, this is your grades for Dustin May. Andrew Francis, B+. James Babin, B-. D-Board 2730, B. BC, B. Paul Gutierrez, B. Neil Casimoto, B. Ghost Cat 69, May, B. The show goes on. That's from Daniel Bowler over on Facebook. Lakers looking like the Dodgers, lucky if they win. We got Wilman Orozco, who says B. He settled down where in the past he would unravel. Yeah, exactly. That's what we said at the beginning of the show. I mean, he was not flustered. He did not have the command. He did not have the feel for his breaking stuff. He wasn't throwing strikes with that four-seam fastball. He was issuing walks, 6 straight balls. You have the mound visit by Will Smith. You have the double by Jock Peterson. But he settled in very nicely, and After that, I mean, he was in a stretch. I mean, 8 straight retired after 3 of the first 4 hitters reached for Dustin May. So top of the second, he definitely came out there. 1, 2, 3 inning on 10 pitches. Just really just shows the growth of D. May. And then jump to the bottom of the third. A 2-1 pitch to Lamont. He hits the ball hard. Felt like a home run. Sounded like a home run. But it dies in triples alley for the first out. And then 4-seam fastball up in the zone. Looked like a ball. It most definitely was a ball. But somehow he gets the call from home plate for strike 3 for the second out, and then he's able to get out of that there in the third inning. So yeah, the third inning he comes out there and he's looking much better once again. I think. Yeah, I mean that third inning there when he comes out in that one and you can see that he was definitely locked in once again. He was definitely locked in once again. I mean, that at bat to Conforto, I mean, that was a 4-seam fastball. It clearly was high. It clearly was up, but he gets the call, and hey, we'll take it, right? We will take it. And then next batter, he's able to get out of that situation too. So you got the strikeout to Conforto, and the first pitch, definitely some hard contact there, but you don't want to hit it to triples alley. And late night Lamont just hasn't been the same guy without the Giants cheating lab, voodoo, whatever you call it, whatever happened there in 2021. But yeah, he comes back and he gets JD Davis to ground out, and he used the curveball for that. So the curveball, even when it's not generating swing and miss and strikes, you're seeing him get some soft contact from it. And I think that's what separates Dustin May from a lot of high-velocity pitchers out there, is that he can induce the soft contact. He can miss barrels with that cutter, miss barrels with that curveball, and generate soft contact. And then we'll see the strikeout numbers pick up as the season goes along. But 7 Ks, we got CT3, a .098 batting average. Ohtani won't come to the Dodgers because he wants to go to a contender. Ow, I see what you did right there, Carl. We got rather have Belly back from Nick Crone 99. LOL is CT3 really hitting single digits. Yeah, you guys writing CT3 pretty strong in the comments, and yeah, he definitely hasn't gotten off to the start that you think a guy like Chris Taylor needed to get off to, because you had hoped that he would really hit the ground running and that he was healthy and that he had no issues with that elbow, no issues with that foot, nothing with his back or neck. But yeah, he just has not looked good so far early on, and he's going to have to turn around because they're going to need him to play. I mean, with the injury to Gavin Lux, he's a guy that's supposed to be that Chris Army knife, a guy that you can put in different spots. You see him at third base, see him playing some shortstop, some outfield, and they're going to definitely need him to produce at some point because, yeah, he's just gotten off to a really slow start. I mean, 14 strikeouts. He's hitting .097, a .437 OPS right now, and that's just not going to get it done. 3 hits and 31 at-bats, 2 home runs, but still, I mean, he just needs to get it going and figure out a way to get that bat pat flat and just come with the hands, kind of get under stuff, and just a little too much movement there. He needs to really just put his bat on the ball and hope that good things happen. But here we go. Ohtani is going to the Rays, not the Dodgers. Ken Nozeki. That's interesting. Wouldn't that be great? I mean, honestly, wouldn't that be great if the Rays got Ohtani? It would just be great, even if it was for the rest of the year. I mean, if they can go for it, who knows, right? DKM, hey, D-Mag, did you play high school ball? I did. South Pasadena, baby. Tigers, catcher. We got D-Mac as the GOAT tonight. Ghost Cat, you get a comment of the night for that. You know, Ghost Cat, you're a dog for that one. You're a dog for that one.
Dodger, dog of the game.
By the way, if you say something out of pocket, you're going to see a Gavin Lux, bruh. Thanks for the update, Craig. We got hee-hee, right? Go Lakers, got some Go Lakers. How about Go Dodgers for no reason? Small ball, please. Like, ever heard of bunting? D-Mac is the MVP of the Dodger family. D-Cam, right back at you, my man. But yeah, jump to the bottom of the 4th inning. Jock gets a leadoff walk, and then a 1-1 pitch to Yaz. He gets him to pop to left field for the first out. And then David VR, really interesting play right here. David VR pops to shallow left field, and it drops. Outman picks it up. They get the force out at second, and yeah, I mean, it goes to Miguel Vargas. The Jock was out at second there. Dave VR goes to first, and Rojas kind of backpedaling there. Probably should have just ran, and still, it didn't really do much damage. He ends up walking Crawford, but then he comes back to get Sable to fly to center for the 3rd out. So, still able to stay in there. He's much more efficient, more command, and then jumps to that bottom of the fifth. May strikes out Bryce Johnson on 3 pitches. To me, one of his most dominant sequences of the game. 4-seam fastball, top of the zone. And that, to me, is going to be the key. 4-seam fastball, top of the zone, missing bats, challenging hitters, the perceived rise, the spin rate, and then curveballs that are low and away, bottom of the zone. Because now you're working all quadrants. You're changing eye levels. And when you have filthy stuff like Dustin May that moves more than a U-Haul, that moves more than a military family, then you're talking about a guy that is going to emerge as an all-star pitcher. So that, to me, is very key. Then next batter, 1-0 pitch to Wade. He singles to left. First hit since Peterson's 2-run double. So that's how long he went without allowing a hit. So Peterson's double in the first. Next hit for the Giants was that very soft contact single, 76.9 miles per hour off the bat by Wade. And the next batter, 2-0 pitch, he gets conformed to ground into a double play. So induces soft contact, gets the pitcher's best friend. And then we talked about what happened next. 6th inning, gets J.D. Davis to ground out. Then Caleb Ferguson, Doc goes to Ferg to face Jock, and Jock got a double off of May earlier, and that was their only extra base hit. And 3-2 pitch, he gets him to foul the tip to end that at bat, and then he gets Yaz. Then Yaz gets a 2-out single to left, and then he gets VR to ground to third for the 3rd out. So Ferguson, he's been shakier of late. He's been pretty much shaky the entire season, struggling with command himself, but still he gets the job done. We talked about Shelby Miller. He comes in the second. Crawford grounds to short. Nice play by Rojas, who fields it, spins it, makes the play. Then Sable singles on a fly ball to left. Outman thought about diving. We talked about that one. And, yeah, just the walks have been an issue for him. Gratterall, he walked Conforto. Runners on the corners. He got J.D. to ground a second for the 3rd out. So by the skin of their teeth, they got the job done, some of the bullpen pieces, but then later we already talked about Evan Phillips giving up those 2 home runs. So it wasn't a pretty night for your Dodgers. They fall to 6-6 on the year, a game back in the NL West. So give you some final thoughts coming up, but now let's go. We're going to all in on the commenters. Ready? Rojas had a hit today, LOL. Nick Crone. Yeah, Rojas had a hit today, and Rojas had a leadoff single there in the 3rd. But look, I thought it was crazy. I saw Dodger analysts and all these people saying, oh, maybe Rojas can be a guy that's going to be an above average bat. That is just insanity. He's just not built that way. His tool, what he brings, what he provides is elite defense, and that is basically going to be it. If to expect him to be an above average bat that's supposed to impact the game with the stick for this team, that's just unrealistic expectations. There's nothing throughout his career. If you look at predictive stats, he's not a guy that hits the ball hard. He's not an exit velo guy. He's not a guy who pops off the page when it comes to expected batting average. No, he is not one of those guys. So I think it's pretty much insane to think that he was supposed to do anything offensively, especially when you come from a team that's had guys like Corey Seager, guys like Trey Turner. Gavin Lux was supposed to hit close to 300 this year. No, he's not going to be that guy. He's 3 for 20 on the year with 1 extra base hit. Doesn't strike out a ton. 4 strikeouts to 2 walks, and a 427 OPS, and he's hitting 150. So probably not going to hit his weight this season. But if he does, that would be great. But if you look at the history of his career, Miguel Rojas. Look, the thing is, I think it's just unfair to Miguel Rojas to expect him to be anything more than just a really, really solid defender, an elite defender that at the very best can get close to being an average bat. To me, that is his ceiling. If you look at through his career, he is a career 84 WRC plus. So throughout his entire career, he's 16% below league average. So it's ridiculous to think he's going to be an above average bat. The one time he was an above average bat, it was when he played 40 games in the 2020 season. So, if that's a full season, then you're probably saying to yourself, well, there's never been a season where he's been an above average bat. So I think we need to get this out of our minds that Rojas is going to be anything more than an average bat, and he's probably not going to be that. Lakers won. We can get a skeep. What up, Brian Castro over on YouTube? I appreciate the $4.99, my man. We'll take a nice chub chug of water for you. You get a comment of the night for that. Presented by our friends over at Hornitos. Please drink responsibility. I'm going to need a lot of Hornitos this season based on how this bullpen looks so far. Let me just say that. But can we do a Dodgers-Lakers post-game show at the same time? That would be podcast gold, Mr. Seabad. I think we might have to consider that. D-Mac is amazing. Keep talking about the Dodgers. Interesting. You win. Carl, appreciate you. Lake Show win in OT. A couple final thoughts here, guys. Anything hot? Any of your fire takes? Any of your burns? Give me that right now because we are going to head out with this one. What's up with Bobby Miller? Armando Moreno. Look, Bobby Miller isn't ready. He's dealt with some soreness. They're not going to rush him along at all. Don't expect to see him until later in the year, if that. So, yeah, I mean, we didn't see a start from him during spring training. So, he is ways away. I mean, Gavin Stone is ahead of him in 2 of his 3 starts. He hasn't looked great. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough sledding until these pitchers start to figure things out. But Henry 10 over on YouTube, watching Roberts manage without a packed all-star lineup, different, isn't it? A monkey could win 90 games with these Dodgers teams. Roberts sucks. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think Dave Roberts, yes, he has the keys to a Bentley sometimes, but you still have to know how to drive it. And look, I also agree with you in that they need to see more success out of him. I've always said that they need to have he needs to win 2 World Series to win 1, so to speak. And yeah, until he does that, I don't think Dodger fans are going to stay silent. So yeah, I think that you're right. And if you want to say that, I mean, this is your opinion, but I think that still Dave Roberts has a lot of things behind the scenes that fans don't see that really keeps the group together. But look, ultimately, the success or failure of this team is going to fall on him. But I will tell you this, that it's a collaborative effort between him and Andrew Friedman. If they fired Dave Roberts, they would just bring in someone else that was another culture, personality guy that would adhere to Andrew Friedman and the front office and some of the analytics guys that really, I don't want to call him a puppet because to me, I think that's disparaging. I don't want to say that about him, but look, they definitely know the deal. Let's just say it that way. Lost at least 2 titles due to Roberts. Don't want to fall down that rabbit hole today, but yeah, I mean, look at last season. I mean, just leave Tyler Anderson in that game, and I think that series is completely different. But if the Dodgers go last place, they will fire Roberts. I agree with that. I mean, I want to say fire him, but that's a good topic for this Friday show. What would it take for the Dodgers to put Dave Roberts, to give him his walking papers? What would it take for Dave Roberts to be on the hot seat? But we won't get into that one tonight. But I think, yeah, if he finishes last place with this roster, I mean, yeah, I think there's a good chance that he might lose his job. But I mean, I think if there's only one way that could happen, obviously, we're talking about completely being decimated by injuries. No team with Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Will Smith is going to finish on last place. So that's not going to happen. So it's still a long season. Let's be a little patient here. For all intents and purposes, Doc won the 2017 World Series. Necron 99, that has been one of my big talking points for years, that you can't say the Astros were cheaters and you can't say the Astros were frauds and trash can bangers and then say that Dave Roberts should be fired, because if that were the case, Doc really has a 2017 title and a 2020 title, and he's really on a trajectory to make it to Cooperstown one day as a manager. So very complicated. It's definitely complicated a story there, but respect you, Bomani. I ain't a rude fan. Outman should bat leadoff from Brady. I don't know about that. I think you still want to keep him down where he's at the order. Continue to have him adjust to big league pitching, continue to have success, draw your walk, get your extra base hits, and we'll see how he deals with that first slump. That's what I'm waiting for James Outman. How does he deal with failure? But we got Let's keep going down here. A couple more here. We'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Christian Reyes, D-Mac, you're a great man. Keep up the hard work, brother. I appreciate you, Christian, over on YouTube. By the way, if you say, we may not win division, but I believe come playoffs we will be good. My faith is strong. That's from James Hyman. Daniel Buller, Outman gets on base, can steal bases. Daniel Buller, yeah. But I also think, too, that once you get some regression to the mean with him, you're going to see him start to strike out quite a bit. I mean, it's just going to be a part of his game, and you don't want to sacrifice that for the slug he can bring. So I'm okay with the strikeouts if it means doubles, triples, and home runs. So definitely, I don't think right now you profile him as a I like this. It's our show. D-Mac is just hosting it. Ghost Cat, friend of the show. You get this one. Here we go. A couple more here, guys, and I'll be out of here. I'm a very patient man. By the way, how about this? Let's end this show with my reel that I did. Would you date or marry a Giants fan? Let me know down below. Can't be losing to NorCal. That's from Craig Osterberg. Can't lose to Frisco and Padres. My standards are low. I need Roberts on my son's travel ball team as a manager. Rob Stiffington. Hopefully your pitchers on that team don't like to go deep into games. But being at tonight's game was a nightmare. It's from David over on YouTube. This team they'll lose more than they win. Wow, you predict that they fall under 500. That would be pretty rough there. But, yep, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the Dodgers Nation post-game show. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Also on TikTok, too. But we'll get out of here on some of your comments on my final thoughts here on the question of would you marry or date a Giants fan? Jet Blackberry says, Giants fan, yes. Padres fan, no. Interesting. We got NS says, if she was hot.
Bruh.
Bats were dead. My son-in-law is a Giants fan. It's from Diane Schroeder.
Bruh.
Hey, it's in law. It's not blood, okay? It's not your blood family, okay? We can tolerate that. If you want to fight, then you have to hit them hard. Never would date a Giants fan. That's from Knuckles 777. But thanks, guys, for joining us as always. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. Remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.